It's a great day for independent media because it appears that YouTube is at the top of the Nielsen ratings. Not kidding at all. This includes the February ratings. And we all know what happened in February, the Super Bowl, right? YouTube is at the top of the Nielsen TV ratings, you guys. Now, we've been talking about this for quite some time, that corporate media is dying. I would say corporate media is already dead. And that is why you have seen some of the shifts on CNN, on MSNBC, not as much on Fox News because they're still doing okay with the ratings. That is why you've seen them fire some people, although there's other reasons for that as well, depending on who the person was. That's why you've seen them switching hosts from one time slot to another. They're trying to move things around. CNN is bringing on conservative voices to try to balance things out somewhat a little bit to help with those ratings. But it is really not working. Really not working. And it's also not really working for Morning Joe. And you'll see this here. They are not too happy that YouTube tops the TV distributor rankings. Listen to this. Oh, my God.
YouTube took the #1 spot last month when it comes to where most people are watching TV. The service accounted for 11.6% of all TV use in the country. That's an all-time high for YouTube and the second time it has topped the list of distributors.
Remember, of course, the extraordinarily famous line in Time magazine, "I've seen the future of rock and roll," and it is Bruce Springsteen. I think we can say that about YouTube and media. I mean, YouTube and media just continues to explode, and the numbers people are getting are off the charts.
Off the charts for a reason, right? Now, remember, YouTube isn't just independent media. They're vlogs, right? Some people will have videos of their pets, and some people have like cooking channels and actually I watch a lot of those. If you want to look like you're looking for a new recipe and you're tired of making the same meals, there's a lot of them on YouTube. In fact, there's one guy in particular, he's called the Protein Chef, and all of his meals are high protein meals. So if you're looking for certain things, like you can find them on, why watch the Food Network when you can just pull up a YouTube video with food recipes, right? Also, don't have a gym membership or can't afford a gym membership. Guess what? There's fitness videos on YouTube. So if you get yourself some dumbbells, you can do weights at home just by watching the YouTube videos. You can also do yoga at home just by watching the YouTube videos, Pilates, etc. I started working out at home before I got my gym membership. So just keep this in mind. But when it comes to media, when it comes to independent media, something has changed. There have been a number of times when I can see that independent media channels are getting more views for a live stream than, say, the numbers of CNN or MSNBC. This wasn't always the case, but things have really changed. And it seems like it doesn't matter if it's a Republican president or a Democrat president that has a full impact on this. So, for example, under Biden, that was happening. Under Trump right now, it's happening. People have moved in different directions. I think something else happened this time around, though. After Kamala lost last year, I think there seems to be a wave of people who were looking for other information, maybe people that were more focused on corporate media. And after she lost, they were really upset or confused. And they're like, how did this happen? I've been watching you guys all year, and you told me she had these big crowds and she was doing really well and she was going to win this state and that state. So how did it happen? How did we get here? Because what was really odd, and anyone who has a YouTube channel, does political YouTube, can explain this as well. Those that cover like news, right? Typically after a presidential election, views decrease. They don't increase for us. So I expected that. I expected, okay, the election's over, January starts, the views are gonna, decrease. That's what I expected. But this time that didn't happen. This time, independent media commentators on YouTube, for whatever reason, we have continued to grow after the election is over. There's a number of times, like there's some of the videos I have, which is, I don't know how it even got there. That JFK video that I posted has over 120,000 views. That's not even my best thumbnail. I was gonna be honest with you, it's not. You know, so what I've noticed this time around is that the vids, the clips, they're getting more views than live streams. Typically, live streams aren't new watchers. It's usually people who are returning viewers, at least for me. The point is, you can't deny the numbers. You can see like CNN may be live on YouTube, and there are times I see it's 300 people watching. Well, that's CNN. How are there only 300 people watching CNN? So something has shifted. Some of the people, I guess, that just don't understand what happened during the presidential election, they started looking towards other pieces of information, and somehow they stumbled upon me. They stumbled upon Status Quo. By the way, Jordan wasn't here for the panel because he had a family thing to take care of, but Status Quo has grown tremendously since the election. Like, there are a number of us that are just continuing to grow, which I didn't expect at all. I was prepared for things to just stop because, you know, there's no midterms, there's no presidential election, but that hasn't happened. And what that tells me is that people are looking for other pieces of information. I think that people are looking for different perspectives. Let's continue. As you can imagine, Joe and Mika aren't too happy about this.
The charts, Joe, and you know, there's this the unraveling of the old world of media has been, you know, a striking thing over the last 20 years, and the question has kind of been what's going to rise up in its place, because obviously there are still lots of people consuming a lot of media and consuming a lot of video, and these numbers that YouTube continues to generate on behalf of small organizations and the individual creator economy. It's, you know, it's got a kind of parallel on this in the Substack world in terms of print or in terms of text. It's an astonishing thing. It's obviously, you know, giving people access to all the world's video clips was a big first step, but it turns out that YouTube has a second and even bigger life potentially as a platform as a viable economic platform for a new structure for the business.
So people need to pay attention to what is happening here, because YouTube is not slipping. YouTube isn't on the decline. I have not seen YouTube decline since I started watching YouTube years ago, right? People are looking for something that's outside of the norm a little bit. And another thing we've noticed too, some of the people that came from corporate media that now have shows on YouTube didn't get as much of a following as I would have thought they would receive, because they are public figures. I mean, if you watch them all the time, like you figure, like for example, Don Lemon, I figured would have had over 1 million subscribers like that. Not the case. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but it makes you wonder, like, what's really going on there, right? It's a different beast over here. In corporate media, when Joe and Mika show up, they have someone to do their makeup. They have someone to do their hair. Hell, they probably don't even take the subway. 9 times out of 10, they have a car pick them up from their penthouse apartment and take them to the studio to do that show. They don't really have to interact with everyday people if you think about it. They really don't. They can bypass us. It's like literally zero. And that's how it is for a lot of them. And they like those perks. And they enjoy it, right? So keep that in mind. It's a totally different lifestyle, right? Like, they don't have to set up a live stream. They don't have a ring light right in front of them, right? They don't even have a microphone in front of them because they're in a studio that is mic'd up. It's totally different when you do this on your own. And what I think is appealing about YouTube, if you're watching independent media on YouTube, is that it is a little bit more raw. It is a little bit more edgy. It's a little bit more authentic. There are things that I can kind of say here that you probably can't say on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News, right? I can just walk into this room and sit down and just start talking. It's a little bit different. I don't have someone telling me in my ear, okay, we're going to cut for a commercial break. Ain't no commercials over here. So it's just, it's a different environment. And I think people just want to see something that's a little bit more raw, a little bit more real, a little bit more laid back, someone that can be more appealing to them. And I think that's why if you notice how trends move, when I was growing up, there was a lot of attention to the glam girl image. There was a movie that came out when I was growing up called Clueless. And during that time, there was like this, trend of the little short plaid skirts and the baby doll. You guys remember the baby doll dresses? Baby doll dresses. There were also the baby backpacks. Apparently, for some reason, we all wanted to be babies. Again, I don't know what that was all about. But there was that type of trend. But as time has gone on, you're noticing there's more of an acceptance for things that are a little bit more natural and raw. I don't see people walking around with baby doll book bags now. In fact, it'd probably be laughed at. And I think that's kind of what people are looking at. I don't think people really want to see this type of stuff as much anymore. Also, there's information that they leave out. There's information that Joe and Mika leave out. There's things that we've told you here on independent media that Joe and Mika don't tell you. So these are things to pay attention to. So yes, YouTube is actually booming despite what people may think. And I know there's issues with the censorship, but according to the Nielsen ratings, YouTube unseats Disney. It is at the top.
For live events, and you're certainly seeing some crazy numbers out of London. Piers Morgan is actually using this, and I think he's leaving traditional television. He's doing these YouTube events where he'll have like Douglas Murray and Mehdi Hassan debate Middle East issues, and they will just go at it. And
this goes to show you how behind they are, right? Piers Morgan has been doing that for a long time. It's been a couple years now, right? That Piers started those debates, at least 2 years or whatever. So notice how this is goes to show you how out of touch they are. He's like, Piers Morgan is doing this thing on YouTube now. It's been a while.
And the numbers are driving up there. I will say something else though that's actually moved me. I say I'm not on social media, but X, Threads, a lot of these things, just so angry. It's like I'm just not going to even wade into it. Sometimes even Instagram, show a picture of a baby. He goes, oh yeah, well, how do you vote in 1972? It's like, okay, whatever. That's one of the great things. And I think YouTube is benefiting from just the rage and the anger on so many other social media platforms. Come on, man.
So do you guys see what they're doing? It's not because people are doing good work on YouTube. It's because all the anger from the social media platforms has found its way over to YouTube. They just can't give people credit. They just can't admit, and don't get it twisted. Like, yes, there are people that have that rage. There are people that are frustrated, but I would say that those people are looking for a different perspective. I would say those people are looking to hear something on YouTube that Joe and Mika are not telling them. I would say that those people, maybe they're tired of seeing Joe and Mika. I don't know. Maybe they're tired of looking at this plastic image of life and they want to hear something that's a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more street, something that's a little bit more real. I mean, like I said, Status Quo has been blowing up, right? What does Status Quo do differently that Joe and Mika don't do? Status Quo goes on the ground. Status Quo goes to East Palestine, Ohio, when other people didn't want to go there because they were like, oh, I want to get sick. Status Quo went to Standing Rock when they didn't want to go. Think about these things. So I think all of these independent media channels do have like their niche. There's something about them that is a little bit different, something you can see from them that you are not seeing on corporate cable media.
I want to look at some video.
Especially X. I mean, I have the account, but I don't use it anymore. Instagram's much better. I advise you not to read the comments. That's always good advice. But as you know very well, I have a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. My son just watches YouTube. I mean, that's I honestly don't think my children know where the clicker for the cable is, because their instinct is they just go on and they go to whatever the streaming service of choice is. If we're watching the NCAA tournament, you find CBS and TBS and all those.
We don't talk
sports.
I'll say something else we don't talk about that much also is like Reddit. We don't talk about it much here, but Instagram and Reddit, we'll be watching a game and I'll be getting there'll be a 15 and out pass route. And, Jack was saying, they say that. I'm going, where are you getting this? And it's Reddit, and it's just, that's pretty fascinating social media platform. But again, away from just the absolute hatred of some of the other social media platforms.
Yeah, so the absolute hatred, he says, don't get me wrong, there can be, toxic level, like on social media, in particular, Twitter, but come on, give credit where it's due, man. There's a reason why people are watching, but it's true. YouTube unseats Disney atop Nielsen's February TV distributor rankings. This is huge, guys. So they beat out Disney. And I want to show you something about February in particular. YouTube hit a record of 11.6% of all TV viewing in February, according to the Nielsen media distributor Gauge report. That put Google-owned video giant in the #1 spot ahead of Disney. And it goes on to say here, the top finish was only YouTube's second since the media distributor Gauge report launched about a year ago. The report groups together all platforms of the Walt Disney Company. That includes ESPN, ABC, and streaming. And most times, the breadth of the portfolio carries the day. In February, though, Disney fell to #2, while Fox Corp rode a surge of tune-in to the Super Bowl across broadcast and streaming outlet Tubi to edge Netflix and end up in third. So even the Super Bowl here didn't help Fox Corp get into first place. So still, YouTube in first place. So when people ask, what's going on here? People are looking for something different. People are like, guys, a lot of people I know don't have cable. Cable's expensive. So it's like a lot of people just, no. I mean, if you're watching YouTube, YouTube is free. So if you have YouTube and you have Netflix, I don't know. Do you need cable? Something to think about. But it's happening, guys. It's happening. And I think Joe and Mika, I don't think they like that too much. Don't think so. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.